Evening, everybody. It's me again, Shannon Fox here, the Vote Papers 2 channel, and I've got several things I want to bring to y'all today. Got my pen and my paper out. I'm going to do a little bit of timestamp on some of my clips that I bring y'all today because I really want to get some really close-up clips of the tower footage because we've now got more footage of the tower. We've got body cam footage from some of the police officers that were up on top of the roof after Mr. Crooks was assassinated. So I want to compare the tower with no one there on top of it, with the blur moving around, and with the new body cam footage with the tower in the background. I want to try to put all this together. So I'm going to bring you clips, even maybe a couple clips you may have already seen. But I'm doing this so I can use my pen and paper here and timestamp when I've got the best views of the tower, because I want to be able to put this all into one clip eventually. That's kind of why I'm doing this video here. Just trying to get a better perspective on what it looks like when the tower doesn't have some black blob swirling around the top of it versus the tower with nobody up there at all versus different angles of the tower with what footage we have, even as grainy as it is. I'm curious to know more about the tower, including the fact that there is a question out there in one of these body cam footage videos I'll show you here in a few minutes, that the police officers are asking and the Secret Service are asking, did we send out drones to make sure there was nobody on the tower? Did we send out drones to the tower? Really good question. The FBI needs to be answering that question today. I'm talking about Christopher Wray before Congress. Not answering a whole lot of questions, but he did better than Teagle so far. I'm going to listen to a little bit of that today. We'll bring you some highlights of that as of tomorrow. But let's go ahead and get into some of the things I wanted to know. And I am going to do some really close-up zooms on a couple of these video clips just because I'm really looking for the tower footage that I want to actually use in another video. So stick with me, folks. Awesome question, folks. Check it out.
In this hearing, Colonel Paris, you're the commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police Department?
Yes, sir, I am.
And your testimony, sir, is that approximately 25 minutes, I won't hold you to the exacts, but approximately 25 minutes before the first shots were fired, that local law enforcement officers identified Crooks as suspicious?
As suspicious, yes, sir.
And what was it that led those officers to conclude that Crooks was suspicious?
My understanding was that he was milling about and he stood out to them because he never made his way to a point of ingress to the venue.
With respect to him being suspicious, were there other folks who were also in the crowd identified as suspicious by law enforcement?
I have been briefed that, yes, there were multiple individuals, which would be consistent with normal operations for a detail like this that are identified as suspicious.
Can we take that as a single-digit number of other folks?
The number that I was briefed on was single-digit, but I can't say definitively that I was.
What number were you briefed on, Colonel?
Excuse me?
What number were you briefed on?
I believe I was briefed on an additional 3 individuals.
Okay, so Crooks plus 3?
As suspicious, yes, sir.
My question is that plus 3, does that include whatever the hell was going on the watchtower? Now, I've got a clip here from Jesse Waters. We've got ELY Crane up on top of the building. If you don't know who ELY Crane is, he is one of our great Republican politicians, a little bit of a rhino at times, but he's also military and has sniper experience as well. So he's the perfect man to get him up there to look at the whole crime scene. Several senators and congressmen went out to Butler, Pennsylvania to look at the assassination attempt site and make their own assessment. And we've got some of that for you too here as well. Hopefully be able to bring you some better footage of the tower as well as a part of this. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next clip here. Now,
staters like McCabe, shocked.
The fact that she didn't have a detailed, releasable timeline is just, it's mind-boggling. That's the bare minimum of what she was going to be expected to address, and she didn't do it. I think she also suffered probably from some poor advice, which is common in the law enforcement community, and that is this idea that anytime there is an investigation pending, you can refuse to provide information. That's not actually true.
Secret Service won't give us any answers, so Congress had to go to Butler themselves. Congressman Eli Crane was part of that delegation that visited the rally site and got on that dangerously sloped roof.
It's not that steep at all. We just had a 70-year-old man back here climb up on the roof easily. Behind me, you see the windows that Secret Service was supposedly in the second floor of this building behind. Makes you wonder why they weren't able to quickly dispatch the individual.
He also recorded the view from one of the windows Secret Service had access to, overlooking that entire roof. Crane says they had...
Now you see this here? This is inside the second floor where the window was open. Now we're under the understanding that the Secret Service, instead of being on the roof, they were inside this window instead, which had a pretty good overview of the Trump rally from that vantage point. But they also had an overview of the entire roof. Now, Mr. Crooks, where he was shot versus where they say he was shooting from, two different stories on two different stations. I don't know why they're having such a conflict of location as far as where the shooter was and where he was shot at. Pretty obvious where he was shot. The blood didn't move. But there is a lot of speculation about the spray and the splatter of the guy's brains that should be behind him all over the building. Instead, they're literally down where he's looked like he got shot from above, if you ask me. Maybe even somebody from possibly from the tower. Just my theory. But let's go ahead and get back into this. Every clipping in all of these videos that has the tower footage, I'm not going to screenshot it and clip it out. Timestamp it just for my own personal, because I want to be able, one of the next videos I put out, just be nothing but tower footage to show you what the tower looks like with nobody on it versus somebody on it. All right, here we go.
Complete coverage over the grounds and a clear line of sight to where Crooks took his shot. So if there were police posted at that second-story window, how'd they miss Crooks climbing onto the roof? Did they leave? Or were they never there at all? We finally got some answers at a Homeland Security Committee hearing this afternoon. Watch this.
Are you aware whether any law enforcement officer or officers was or were posted in the second floor window of the AGR building?
I am aware, yes, sir.
And what is the answer?
To my knowledge, there were two posted there from Butler ESU.
Did they remain on post?
I was told that at a certain point, they began searching along with other local officers in the immediacy after Crooks had been identified as suspicious.
Based on what we've learned today, sounds like almost everyone didn't do their job.
Ultimately, Secret Service is the one who made the determination of placement or contacting or making sure the plan was in coordination with the property owner for gaining admittance from the property owner for the second-story window. Is that correct? That was Secret Service's plan.
Correct. Ultimately, it's on
Secret Service for that plan.
Your officers were assigned to various roles, but they were not responsible for securing the building or property at AGR. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is it unusual to have such a small perimeter around an outdoor event like this one?
I would say that we routinely, as a matter of course, exercise deference to the Secret Service to set the perimeter for an event like this.
Meanwhile, the investigation into Crooks continues. Pennsylvania officials visited his family home on Sunday for over an hour, and we're learning more about his prep before the rally. Crooks and his dad were members of the Clarendon Sportsman's Club, an expansive shooting range which, according to reports, also serves as a training facility for local and federal law enforcement agencies, including DHS. Yeah, Crooks may have been training to kill the president right under law enforcement's nose. And now the Secret Service is reportedly encouraging Trump to stop holding outdoor rallies. The feds who failed to keep the former president safe are now leveraging their power to stop him from campaigning in the heartland. Congressman and former Navy SEAL sniper Eli Crane joins me now. Eli, What happened up on that roof when you were walking up there? What'd you see?
Well, thanks for having me on, Jesse. The first thing I noticed as soon as I got out of the SUV in the parking lot was the towering water tower that had, the largest, most unobstructed view over the entire property. That was the thing that I said immediately. If I was a counter sniper, I would want to be up there. As we walked the grounds and went over to the buildings, and got up on the roof where the shooter was, Jesse, I looked up and there was that water tower 160 yards away, which makes me wonder who actually placed the counter snipers in position, because not only would that individual have not been able to shimmy up that roof, low crawl to the apex and then take 7 or 8 shots at the former president, he wouldn't have even been able to, get on the ladder had somebody been up on that water tower. So that was the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed, that the Secret Service director completely lied to the American people when she said that roof was so sloped that nobody could get on top of it.
Well, if it's a fact, she lied about anything. We can get her for perjury. That is a crime here in the United States, especially when you're a government official and you're perjuring yourself to have the truth. This lady should be more than just have to resign, but should be definitely held accountable.
Myself and several members of the Homeland Security Committee got on top of it, and a 70-year-old member from Florida, Mr. Jimenez, got on top of it, walked right up it, no problem. So that was a complete attempt to gaslight the American people. And the last thing I noticed, Jesse, was that the 2-story building right behind that roof had clear coverage out the windows of that entire roof, and it makes you wonder where the hell those guys went and why they didn't send a rover to go track down or look for this shooter and leave those shooters or that team looking out those windows. So it was just a complete failure of the security forces there at the site.
They abandoned their post at the window, and then I want to know the name of the person that didn't deploy the counter snipers to the water tower, and I want to know who is making these decisions about where to put these guys. We should know that person's name by now. That's key. Eli, thank you so much. Great job. You shouldn't have to do that. The Secret Service should, but good job. More of our exclusive interview with Trump Vance. That's next.
Wow. Did y'all hear that, folks? That is a crazy, crazy interview right there. No doubt about it, we do got more questions than answers at this point. Hopefully, the citizen journalists and the footage will make all the difference. Now, there's 2 clips here on this particular video. We'll play this one first. Get it up here in the main screen. These are 2 different clips. There's several things that are being said. These are officers discussing the drone. Was there a drone deployed for the tower?
We have access to a drone. This water tower.
At this point, at the bottom of the screen, you can shrunk me down. At this point, at the bottom of the screen down here, you can see the tower, and it looks, and this is right after he was shot. So, see the tower at the bottom of the screen? It still looks like to me that there's somebody on the tower there. But we got several more video clips that we're going to get to see a little bit about the tower as well. But first, let's listen to this. Now we got the water tower over here in the corner. And we pull the water tower in. There we go. Move me over to the other side. Get me out of the way. This right here is what I want to see, folks. I want to see this water tower. Center screen blowed up as big as I can get. Hold on, folks. Give me a second. Let me stretch the screen a little bit. I'm more interested in the views of the water tower than I am the conversation. But they are asking about footage of drone footage of, or is there a drone being deployed to see what the hell is going on with the tower? Good question. Alright, now I've tried to watch this video 2 different times, and for some reason, the audio on it is really off or is really, really low. But I'm going to go ahead and read you a little bit of what they're saying. But more than that, I'm interested in looking at this tower. As much of it as they've got in the video feed. Now, I do not know why this video was muted, but I'm not the first person today to have this actual issue. But what I'm really looking for is that tower right there, the footage right there. Now, is this guy in the suit the guy that was up there on the roof taking the pictures? Because this is minutes after the shooter was taken down. Now, here's a good point as well. There is video footage of this rifle. You see where the rifle is in the video, folks? It is 1, 2, 3, about 3 or 4 rungs over from the shooter, and these are all 18-inch standard seam rungs, or siding type sheet metal. So that tells me that that's roughly 8 feet away. How did the shooter's gun get 8 feet away? Because in theory, it could have been the officers kicked it away from him after they shot him. But there's also video footage out of as soon as the shooter was shot, before this blood trail had a chance to run down the building, before any police was up on top of the building, any Secret Service was on top of the building, just a shot of him being shot, his rifle was already at this distance. So my question is, how did his rifle get 8 or 10 foot away from him if he was shot in the head? How did all this happen before the police got up there to take the rifle away from him? It's kind of a strange thing going on. It's a good question as well. Let's get back into this. Like I said, no volume on this one. Not the first time I've had this issue, but it is what it is. He's asking him about the cell phones. What do we know so far about the guy? But he also asked, do we have access to a drone to clear the water tower? Because they don't know for a fact at this point if he was the only shooter. Now, my question is, are they already forensically contaminating the crime scene by walking all over it? Before the medical examiner and everybody got to get up there, the CSI team, to actually count the bullet casings, make sure that the caliber of weapon is the same caliber of bullets that were shot into Trump and all these other people. There's so many questions that they can answer. It's a lot of basic ballistic details and forensics. But I'm just mostly watching this video, folks, for one main reason, and that is to get as much footage of this tower as I possibly can, because I want to be able to blow this up in real time. Alright, there's a good shot of the tower right there. Right there. Now, you see that black spot on the side of the tower? I almost want to say that would look like a human, but I don't think so. That spot's there when Eli Crane went there, which was days after the original shooting. So that spot is still on there, but the white thing basically like nipple on top of the tower. In some shots, there's no shadow on the right side of it. Some shots, there's a moving shadow. Like right there, in this bottom corner, right there, I'm assuming that there is still a dark shadow on the tower. We'll be getting some better close-ups of this. That's why I did this video. Let me read you a little bit about what was said here in this particular video clip. It says an officer can be heard saying that the sniper who took the photos was in an adjacent building that was fairly close to where Crooks later fired shots. The Secret Service agent later asked officers about the two people who were detained following the shooting, but the Beaver County officers on the roof said they were unaware of anyone being detained. In the background of the video, Crooks' lifeless body can be seen blurred with a stream of blood flowing down the roof. Yeah, I don't understand why they did not have someone on the watchtower from the get-go. That doesn't even make a lick of sense to me. I would think just the small amount of buildings that were there, they would have somebody on a higher vantage point than those buildings.
See later, there's a ridge right in the middle of the building.
Right there. Do y'all see that officer walking around the corner. Who is this officer? Crooks is on the building right up here at the top, and he's walking around the corner going this way. How come this officer didn't approach Crooks? That's my $1 million question for this particular clip. Won't get into that too much. I did that on yesterday's video, but there's definitely something going on that nobody can really explain yet. Now here's the video that I've found.
Just said, take a look at what happened.
Best footage so far. Now I'm gonna back this up a little bit. All right, folks, hold on. Bear with me. I'm trying to get y'all the best view possible. Okay. All right, that's about as big as I can blow it up right there, folks. Now watch. Now let's watch this thing one more time.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Oh. It almost looks like there's a bucket of smoke or something up here. Check that up.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
It almost looks like there is a puff of smoke or a flash or something going on up here when the shots start. Watch again, folks. Watch close.
What happened?
What is that, folks?
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
To me, seems like someone has stepped out around the tower during the shooting, steps back behind the nipple on the top of the tower, and then rolls right back around. That's what I'm seeing, folks. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. All right, I got one more clip. This was made by the Daily Meme team. I want to give them full credit. Someone else shared it on the Rumble Rant, shared it, but it's actually a Daily Meme team professional meme. This is as good as it gets. It's something I would love to learn to do, folks. Haven't quite got there with my editing skills yet, but this looks like a whole lot of fun to build these type of videos. This is a good one, folks. It's a classic. Most of you probably know the show well, probably watched it growing up like myself. I'm talking about the Dukes of Hazzard, but instead, we got the Dukes of MAGA. Check it out, folks. This is awesome.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just a good old boy, they wouldn't change if they could. Fighting the system like a true modern day Robin Hood.
Wow. Tell me what y'all think about that, folks. Nice ending there. I love it. I love it. Like, subscribe, and share to go to Patriots. Tell me what y'all think about this second shooter on the tower scenario. Getting kind of fishy. Haven't got any real answers yet. But citizen journalism will solve this case. I have faith. Everybody have a great day. Over and out.